Hi, Ivana. Welcome to the Expeditionary Mindset. Thank you so much for making time today to chat a little bit about Taksu. And I know that you've spent quite a bit of time in Bali and you have personal connections to Bali. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about maybe what Taksu means in Balinese culture and then also what it means to you.
Well, hello, Roshni. It's really nice to meet you here on online, and I'm really glad that you wanted to discuss a topic like this. I think Taksu is a very important topic in Bali and in generally in the work of all of us who are in any way connected to Balinese culture. So thank you for this invitation and for your interest in this topic. Well, Taksu is a very important concept in Bali, and it is also quite elusive. It's really difficult to pinpoint and to define its meaning. Um, Basically, Taksu is what we all know. That's what tourists usually know when they come to Bali. It is that special quality in everything that we do that we call magnetism or charisma or presence. And it primarily relates to performing artists, maybe actors and dancers in Bali or musicians. So it is that quality that distinguishes between a very good dancer or musician or a performer and an extraordinary dancer or performer. It's that quality that makes something that is ordinary into extraordinary. It's that next step. So now that said, that is a lot of it is rooted in Balinese religion and Balinese culture. About Taksu. First, as you probably know, in Bali, every Balinese family inside its family compound has its temple, and inside the temple they have a shrine, special shrine that is called Taksu. And before a performance, you actually go, if you're a dancer or a musician, you go there and you pray. You pray for that taksu, you pray for that special quality, so that you can captivate the audience, so that you can be good at what you do. And but it's not only related to performing arts, to musicians and dancers, although that's where we usually hear it for the first time. But it can be related to any profession. You can run a food stall, for example, in Bali, and then you want people to notice you among all other food stalls in the street. You're just selling, nasi campur, the mixed rice or whatever you're selling. You can be a lawyer. You can be just about anything. So taksu is that is that quality that you need in order to be really really good at what you do. Basically, that's the general meaning of taksu. Some people kind of identified that term with another really important term in Balinese culture, and you mentioned it in your video. I listened to that. It's sakti or shakti, which means it is also a bit sloppily translated as like supernatural power. It is not really that, but Sakti is usually related to maybe very distinguished people like kings or generals or army leaders or gods. God can be Shakti, so it is that supernatural quality that also makes one be able to do really extraordinary feats. So, for example, if you run an army of 10,000 soldiers and then you defeat the army of 1,000 soldiers, then there is nothing extraordinary about it, right? But if the situation is opposite, if you have the army of 1,000 people and then you defeat the army of 10,000, then yeah, there is really something supernatural about you, something really special, something extraordinary about a person like that. So it's also now we are going back to performing arts uh, because that's what I do. I have a dance group here in Serbia. I've been running the dance group for 17 years now. And I remember once my teacher in Bali, I go to Bali often, my teacher, he's been watching my photos on Facebook, and he really liked them. And that he said, "Oh, I can see that your dancers have taksu," and that was like a really big compliment for me if he could conclude that only based on the photos that we post on Facebook. So he can see that they have that extra quality and that they are really good. So basically, that's it. Now there is a question on how to obtain taksu. Yeah, of course, you cannot sit at home and pray in your family temple and do nothing and then expect taksu to come. It will not. So you really have to have first talent. You need to do hard work. You really need to dedicate yourself to something, and then you can actually expect taksu to come. So it may come, it may not. You never know.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that explanation. And it's so cool to hear about how this has manifested in your own life and in your own art and performance. I wonder, Ivana, especially as somebody who is not originally from Bali, but now has built this history and experience with it. It definitely seems like, even compared to many other popular travel destinations, other popular places around the world,
Mhm.
Bali has really become very much a magnet for people from all over the world who are looking to connect with something, maybe connect with something that's a little bit bigger than themselves. And I wonder, do you think that has anything to do with Taksu? Is the island itself kind of a magnet, or sort of does it exhibit Taksu?
Sorry. Yes, I think it does. The answer to your question is yes. I think that Bali as an island, as a culture, has enormous taksu and that magnetism that really draws people to not only to come and visit and spend like their summer vacation, but to live there, to really go deep into that culture, to experience that culture really deeply. And for me, I was a student in the States, in Hawaii, when I first encountered Balinese culture. And for me, that was amazing. It's such a huge repository of thoughts and philosophy and meanings and questions and issues that it's like a bottomless well of meaning. And I found something there that was really lacking in my, growing up in urban environment, and really missing all that spirituality that Bali has to offer. And the first thing that I encountered in Bali was, of course, the performing arts. That is why I came there. I started learning dance and music, and it was beautiful. But it's not just the manifestation of all that, but in terms of like music and arts and what you do, but the meaning that's behind all that. Because for the Balinese, doing art is a kind of prayer, is all art basically in Bali is intended not so much to entertain the spectators, but for the divine audience. And for me, that's great. It's like partaking in the some kind of universal creation. So now, saying all this, I'm not very religious. I see the Balinese Hinduism as philosophy, and for me, it's a beautiful philosophy that it just gives the meaning to so much of what we do. But yes, the Balinese really draws people with all that it has to offer, also in terms of that meaning that it gives to everyday things, you know, from everyday things to some really, really great things in life.
I
So,
I love what you were just explaining about the intersection between art and spirituality.
mhm.
And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I've just had my own first experience in Bali, and it was for work. So I can't say that I even scratched the surface of what Bali is actually like. But one of the conversations that I had while I was there was with Bali's vice governor, who, like you, is an artist and a performer. And our conversation turned to exactly this subject, the connection between art and spirituality in Bali, and some of the concepts that you were just describing. And one of the things that he mentioned was that the concept of taksu is at least loosely connected to this idea that when somebody or something, I guess, is exhibiting taksu, you can see it or you can feel it through the way they speak, the way they think, and the way they act, and maybe the connections between those three things. So I couldn't help thinking, apart from praying, for those of us who are looking to bring more taksu to what we do, whatever we do, whether it's art or some other type of project or other things that we are passionate about. Is there something that we can be mindful of, or something that we can do to try and connect with our own inner magnetism, our own inner taksu? Or maybe it's out there. I'm not sure. Is it out there or is it in here? Maybe it's both, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I think it's both. It's both out there and it's in here. Well, I don't really have an easy answer to your question, like how one can obtain that apart from praying, which is mostly reserved to the Balinese. You need to be a Balinese Hindu to go to the temple and pray for Taksu. But for somebody who is not Hindu Balinese, now I don't really have an easy answer. I just believe that there is another really important concept in Balinese culture before I answer this question, and it is the concept of dharma and adharma. You know that in Bali they see the world as like a continuum of two opposing forces. That is good and evil, or right and wrong, day and night, black and white. So everything consists of those opposites. And the Balinese believe that it is your duty as a human being to maintain the balance between the two. And I think balance is a really important word, not only in Bali, but anywhere. You have to kind of try to maintain balance between yourself, between the society, between other people, wherever you can. So that constant struggle between dharma and adharma for Balinese is one way of achieving the goal of getting taksu, among other things, of course. So I see that I can translate that into non-Hindu Balinese terms as like just being in tune with yourself, with what you do, and having really honest intentions, and doing everything with love and with an intention to really do good. And then the result may come. That's how I can try to translate all this Balinese philosophy into something that is not Balinese. But I really don't have the easy answer to that question. Yes, another answer to your question is that you really have to work really hard. So there is nothing without hard work. And I don't think that the Balinese consider this concept of taksu trying to bypass hard work, because they can get lazy, of course, but they can really work hard when necessary, and they do work hard. For example, dancers and musicians, they really practice a lot. So you really have to devote yourself to something and be persistent in it, and then I believe that the result will come. So that's kind of my vision of the answer to your question, which is quite difficult.
Wonderful. No, it's a great answer. I think it definitely gave me some things to think about, and way to move forward to get more taksu. I know that you're being very humble in our conversation and not saying very much about what you do and your pursuits and projects with Balinese culture, but I wonder if you could share a little bit about your work, your art.
Well, I do. I run an Indonesian dance group. It is called Bidadari Dance Studio, and I guess by naming my group Bidadari, I probably in a way wanted to ensure that we will have taksu, because Bidadaris are those heavenly nymphs. They are the consorts of god Indra, and they also have that quality of taksu. So that the name of my group already, in some ways, if you're superstitious enough, and I am not much, but yeah, to a degree I am. Our group is called Bidadari, and I believe that it does have that Taksu quality, but we also work hard. So this April we're going to celebrate our 17th anniversary, and so we've been doing this work for 17 years. We have a really big repertoire of Indonesian dances from all over the Indonesia, from Bali, Java, Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, um, many different dances. We are also doing theater productions. We do dance dramas, like a few years ago we did Ramayana dance drama, and then last year we did, no, 2 years ago we did Mandalika. It was based on a story, a legend from Lombok. So that is what we do. We all of us are in love with Indonesian culture, not only Bali, but the culture of all Indonesia. And many of our girls had the opportunity to go to Indonesia because the Indonesian government offers these scholarships. And some of my dancers, they spent a year or a few years or only 3-4 months there. So we are kind of gathered here around this beautiful idea of Indonesian culture, and we are happy that we can still work on it. Basically, yeah, we are connected to the Indonesian embassy here in Belgrade. So we had their support, but for the past year, of course, we are now doing our work in a theater. In a theater, one really nice theater in Belgrade. They gave us a roof over our heads, and yeah, we are thankful for that. And we still work. We are preparing another production. Probably this year it will be based on Mahabharata, one episode from Mahabharata. So yeah, that is what we do.
Amazing. I look forward to hopefully meeting you in person when you're back in Bali soon. But till then, I just want you to know I really, really appreciate our conversation today, and thank you so much for sharing your experiences, your thoughts, and your feelings about Taksu. And really look forward to getting to know more about Bali and about your connections to Bali in the future. Thank you so much for your time and your insights today, Ivana. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I hope we are going to meet really soon in Indonesia. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, Ivana. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye.
Bye.